therapy on stage with audience volunteers.
And that
like was a hit. It was a hit.
So that's what you started doing in like 01?
In 01, yeah.
I was gonna ask you, like, who do you see as someone who has some sort of, like, you've been doing this for a long time, like,
right.
Who do you see when you have problems?
Oh, a shrink.
I'm not an idiot. I don't get up on some stage. Yeah.
But I have to say,
yeah.
I've been to a lot of shrinks,
yes.
and I've actually had some I was an inpatient in a study on depression. I was in a hospital for 5 days.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like something you put on the resume.
I had a spinal tap. I had like the whole...
That sounds not even related to emotional stuff. That sounds like a straight up body physical...
So I've been through it. But
yeah, totally.
So I have a lot of opinions. But I finally actually went to this therapist because she was researching women who were in their 40s that didn't have kids, and then I wound up liking her and going to therapy with her.
That seems like a good way to find a therapist.
There's no good way to find a therapist.
Touche. Yeah, but and then you're just interested in the process, and then you got into it. And do you feel like, as an advice giver, and like I said, that's one thing that I did like just watching the pilot of the TV show, was that you do give advice, you get bang for your buck pretty quickly.
I don't hold back.
Yeah, which is great. Do you have advice for people who give advice?
Oh, yeah, I've got some of my strongest opinions are on people who give advice.
Tell me about it. First of all, school, bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can tell you my most bitter, angriest therapist, psychiatrist experience.
Okay, yeah.
So I was going to the psychiatrist through the program, right? The program at the hospital. I got like a really cheap psychiatrist because they decided to put me on Prozac through all the different tests and stuff.
Sure.
Which changed my life. But anyway, that's another story.
This segment's brought to you by Prozac.
So anyway, she moved into private practice from the clinic and wound up charging me like $150 instead of $40. I said I didn't want to go anymore. She made me come because I was taking the drugs. I came once a week. I came once a month. Or once every other month, or every other week or something. And then one day I walk in and she said, "I'm not seeing you anymore." Just like that. That's asshole.
Total. Yes. Do you think that's an asshole move? Is that vote an asshole move? You're gay, because, yeah. Well, first of all, you can't do both. You can't take too much money and then say no.
She didn't warn me about it. I didn't have that kind of money.
You know who should know that that's not a good move?
A shrink. They're the worst.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'm really cynical about shrinks. That's why I'm doing this.
That's why. Yeah. That makes sense. Even from like you say, you're not charging on the radio for people to come on, but that does make sense from it's all how people will come up with businesses, is they see something that's done incorrectly.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I could do that.
And anybody can become a shrink. You know, you can go through the school and get a license. There's no Yelp for shrinks.
Yeah. Well, you can start that too. That'll be my business.
By the way, what's the name? I was going to tell you about a really good
shrink.
Phil, what's the name of the strip club near us?
Pumps.
I've seen Pumps.
Go to Pumps. It's great.
Go to Pumps. Okay. I've been to 6 strip clubs in my life.
That's free, by the way, that advice.
But thank you very much. Look at that. I'm already getting pumped up here. That's great. So in terms of giving advice, if someone's going to give, I guess, what is your advice for an advice giver?
My advice for an advice giver, well, I think giving good advice is an art. I don't think it necessarily has to be somebody with training and stuff like that, but I think it has to be somebody. I think the whole thing is about ego, really.
Sure.
So if you can kind of put your own ego in check and get what somebody else is saying and just listen to them and give them your thought directly and see what they say and not have to tell them, So in other words, a good advice giver doesn't feel like, I know what I'm telling you is right.
You're kind of having a conversation, trying to figure it out together.
Yeah, kind of.
Do you remember a time where, we can do both, either a time where an issue was presented to you and you were just like, I got nothing for it, Or do you remember a time where you specifically were just like, I nailed that with a problem?
Well, I will say that, like, a lot of times I have to say, I'm surprised how often I do nail it. I don't expect it, but a lot of times people are like, whoa, because I come out and say it. That's the whole thing.
You say when you nail it.
No, I tell them what I think, and so
okay, yeah.
so I think shrinks. I think a lot of shrinks would do that. They just don't. They don't come out and say it.
Right.
But I will tell you, I had Amy Schumer come to my apartment once because of some project where we were doing to find out what people for photography. Anyway, and we had an hour together.
Sure.
And I was a little overwhelmed. It was before she was famous.
Okay.
So I didn't know who she was, but she was saying that her problem was that she felt that people wanted stuff from her. She was afraid she was going to wind up alone because people wanted stuff from her, and she couldn't deal with all those people.
She was like seeing the future, kind of.
Well, but the thing is like, so I was a little overwhelmed. I didn't know who she was. She had just come from the Comedy Store, and I like, who's this person in my apartment? She's like,
yeah, how did she get
how
there?
did somebody this successful come into my apartment?
How did that happen?
Because I was doing a project with a photographer on women you were afraid of turning into, and she was one of the women, and we were doing photographs together.
So people were afraid of turning into her.
She was afraid of turning into this person that just kind of rejected everybody and wound up alone in her little apartment at the time.
Gotcha.
Got it?
I'm sorry she had a real rough go of it for a while.
So, what I wish I had said to her was, you should be grateful to have that issue, that you have so many people around you that you feel this way. You should be thankful that people want to be around you. Like, it was really, I thought it was, this is so gossipy, but don't tape this.
Don't worry, my wife is definitely not.
I thought it was kind of arrogant. When I look back on it, that felt really arrogant, but I was so overwhelmed by her presence. This is a big deal, because I was like, I got overwhelmed by her presence, and I didn't know what to say.
That can also kind of be how you could be like, well, I think things are going to work out for you,
Well, she really had, she
made it to her late 20s before being a millionaire, and that is rough, but, yeah.
She knew she was going to make it, but,
I saw you talking to Joseph Gordon-Levitt online, too?
Yeah, no, I did a video with him.
Yeah.
He came in, when his career was at a low point, quite honestly. It was after...
I gotta say, mine's pretty close.
Well, you're gonna be on my show, folks. He's gonna be I'm doing a plug. February 22nd, 2 o'clock.
Can you read what my problem is? Just seeing me talk so far.
I can't right now because there's too much going on. We're not really, I'm trying to like fucking handle this.
Yeah. We all are. Aren't we all just trying to fucking handle it? At the end of the day, yeah, hell yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm concerned about right now. What I'm feeling is I'm concerned, or my thing is like, I want to make sure that I do a good job on the show. And
You're doing great.
That you guys are happy.
You're 100% good.
Okay,
You're totally great. You should see.
So that's what I'm thinking, and I know, and I'm not making any evaluation. I think you're really good at what you do.
I think you did nail it again.
But I also think you have really good hosts, like making everybody feel happy and everything's cool quality, and that's the only thing I'm seeing about you. So
my wife said that in our wedding vows.
So I can't presume to know what you're hiding except the assumptions I make about every comedian.
That's great. I love all of it. Can't wait to talk about it on Radio Free Brooklyn next time.
Are you sure you want to be in the show now?
Hell yeah, I don't give a shit. This whole thing is oversharing. That's my business. And this is, I'll leave us with this. This is a fun thing. So, the girl who was the maid of honor at our wedding met you recently. You didn't know this, but you won an award. You were
Miss Subways.
She won the Miss Subway pageant. And the girl as the maid of honor for me and my wife, this girl Elizabeth Gupta, was Miss G-Train years ago. And she crowned her. We had no idea. And we have a photo. It's not great in terms
you have the photo?
of, yeah, well, see, this is our lovely guest right here. Look at that. They spared no expense with that crown. That is selling 2 Burger King crowns, and that's our maid of honor right there who put that on. But yeah, Miss Subway too. Miss Subway and the therapist. Lisa Levy. Dr. Lisa gives a shit. Thanks so much for coming out.
Yeah.
Great. Give it up for Lisa, everybody. All right. All right, guys. We have.